I've been seeing this go around. Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, got a PhD in African American history and then used it to author Project 2025 and dismantle civil rights. Y'all know this sent me down a rabbit hole, right? Y'all want to come? Come on. I said, there's no way this man has a degree in African American history. Learn the things that he learned about African Americans, about the formerly enslaved, and come out the megalomaniac that he is today. And I saw in his Wikipedia that his degree is not in African American history. His degree is in history. Now, he has what we would call a concentration. Wikipedia says main interest in African American history. For those people with multiple degrees, you know that you can choose an area with maybe one or two disciplines. So it wasn't his main focus per se, but in looking at his Wikipedia, I found his thesis and I found his dissertation. When he got his Master of Arts in History, he wrote his thesis on African Virginian extended kin, the prevalence of West African family forms among slaves in Virginia, 1740 to 1870. For his dissertation, he did Slaves and Slavery in Louisiana, the Evolution of Atlantic World Identities, 1791 to 1831. I took notes. Now, in his master's thesis, he spoke about how the extended family, extended kin was a way to resist, right? He talked about the centrality of that. He spoke about the high status and influence of women. He said it was matrifocal, and that without these enslaved people being matrifocal, they wouldn't have been able to see any success when it came to freeing themselves. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, without the women, things wouldn't have changed or moved. That's what he means in this paper. He also talked about the flexible systems of descent, meaning family, right? It wasn't just everything was through the father. It was like, oh, that's my cousin them. Oh, that's auntie them. Like how extended kin played a central role in the enslaved community and how it helped them to resist. Community. He learned that community and women were key central focuses of the enslaved community that led to their freedom. Now, in his dissertation, he focused the main core argument, there were a couple of them, but the only two I want to focus on is that how enslaved people in Louisiana shaped their world by actively resisting. That's what he learned. He also learned that the enslaved used the Catholic Church, the rights of the Catholic Church, market gatherings, legal petitions to build community and push back against slavery. Let's go back to that market gatherings. To me, that sounds like a cookout. It seems like they would gather together and plan and organize, which means everybody wasn't invited to the cookout, market gathering. In order for things to get better, everybody wasn't invited to the market gathering. Now, reading these two papers and seeing how he governs as the president of Heritage Foundation, who pushes Project 2025, that the dichotomy of it is mind-blowing because it's like the exact opposite. Notes. Took them. So in Project 2025, they say that the traditional nuclear family is normal, but in his own goddamn research, he found that when the community is matrifocal, when the women are running it, and when there is extended kin community helping as well, they saw change. They saw revolution. Maybe that's why they forcing these traditional nuclear family norms, because they know what community can do. All right. Now, I'm not going to go over all of it. But another thing that Project 2025 purports is that DEI, they're skeptical of DEI. But in his own research, cultural agency and Black community led to resilience that is central to American history. Diversity helps drive the country forward. That's why we don't have healthcare. Nope. Different video. after going down that rabbit hole, it was never to counter what my fellow content creators were saying. It went a different route. After I read both those papers and I understand how white supremacy works, I realized that this man has researched where the power in the Black community lies. He understands that it lies with women. He has, from the 1700s at the start of his paper to the early 1800s to the late 1800s in his dissertation, he has tracked the power of Black women when it comes to liberation and how, we have been the drivers of it. So now, as a Black woman, I'm like, oh, okay, he got all the ingredients. Yeah. So I'm trying to see how he's going to try to use the organization to chip away at that power. But you can have all the ingredients. That don't ever mean